My name is John Burkhauser, coming to you from Bolt-On Technology just outside of Philadelphia, and I'm looking forward to spending about the next hour with you folks. So let's get started. Whenever you're working on any specific repair order estimate or whatever it is, our software requires that you open up full screen. So if you don't have it open full screen, our software is not going to recognize it. So just be aware of that while you're working on it. So let's go in here and Report Pro. And this here what I call the main Report Pro window. So we're going to go over some of the basics here. And again, if you already know these things, that's fine. It's a good review. But if you don't, just pay attention. And as we go, I am sure that I will be showing you something that you're not familiar with. So the first thing, the first windows, these quick reports here. Whenever you click on either one of these quick reports, it's just going to print whatever is available. So for example, I have this vehicle open up in my repair order right here. If I hit Quick Invoice, it's going to print it right out. And I don't have to do anything else, just click and go. Quick Vehicle. If you have a tech worksheet and you're using tech worksheets right now, and you're sending them out to the shop with the technician, clicking here is going to send that out. And as a matter of fact, according to how you have the settings set, and we go back to General Settings, where am I here? I want to go Quick Reports. Quick Invoice, it's going to choose which format that you wish here. So I have the modern chosen right there. And I'm going to send it right to the main printer and how many copies. So if I have multiple copies, like a lot of shops might print two out, one for the customer to take and one for the customer to sign, leave behind. Just clicking up on that two, moves it up there. And if it's a multi-sheet and you want to print out pages 1, 2, 3, and 4, clicking and selecting that, it's going to do that before it prints out the second copy. So this is under settings, all right, and this is quick reports, as you can see here. And the reason I came here is because Quick Vehicle. When I click on Quick Vehicle, it's going to print out my tech worksheet. And if I've chosen here a custom multi-point inspection, so if I have paper inspections, it's going to do that. If I don't want to have anything print out besides that tech worksheet, just clear it out by selecting it and doing that. And of course, your printer should be named right here. That's where it's supposed to send it to. Okay, and of course, mine's a little different, so that's the way it is. Multi-page reports, once again, that will put them out in order 1, 2, 3, and 4. Whenever you make any change in this screen, always hit Save and Close. But basically, I showed you that because that has a big effect on how each one of these work, okay? Printing, exporting, and emailing. Anything that appears in the main window right here. All right, so in the Actions window here, if I want to print this, this is yet a way I can just hit this, click, and print. That'll all print out. If I want to export this, for example, a customer wants their history, and you look up the vehicle history down here. So I'm double-clicking on that, giving it a chance to load. It's going to look at that vehicle, and there's a history, and the customer wants that. Well, I can export that or print that right out to them, and I can do it in multiple different formats. I can make a PDF or an Excel or whatever I choose, a rich text format. Whatever I choose, once I choose that and I hit Save and send it, it's going to send it out in that format. So if you have a customer request in history because they're going to sell a car or something like that, that's how you can do that. Or if you just want to email it, just click here. It's going to open up your program, your mailing program on your PC. It's all configured, and you'll be able to just send that out right away. Okay. The next part, the page. If you want to look at the whole document in one shot, you zoom out. If you want to look at it in a shape where you can see it, old eyes, whatnot, zoom in. If it's a multi-page document, which this is not here, we can move backwards and forward in that document, just by clicking on these screens. So zooming out, you can move back and forth in the document like this. If you've made any changes back in NAPA, change anything right here, our software may not immediately pick it up. So to help it, if you want to see what the change does in your final format, what you have here, hit the reload button. And what that's going to do is cause our software to go back in and look at this repair order and reload all the changes that you just made. Something that came up recently, and hopefully you see this on your screen, which means you show the latest and greatest version. This is how we're going to now change the work order and search for work orders. So you come over here and click. Your work in progress, repair orders and estimates, all displayed here. And if you want to change from one to the other, all you have to do is double click on the one that you wish. And now that should be the one that you're working on right here. So no longer do you have to go back to the NAPA program, save or close out a window, and go and open another one just like this. We just took all those steps away just by putting that button right there. If you need to search for a work order, one that's currently in process, one that's already closed, you click on Change Work Order, go to Work Order Search, and you can search by customer name. You can search by the work order number. Oh, great. I don't have a Smith in there. How's that possible? Interesting. I don't have a work order number off the top of my head. Ooh, let's try this. 73933. Aha. So it is working. All right, cool. I keep choosing customers. I don't have that database. So anyway, you can pull up Rebecca Lee. That's the customer I have in the background. So you have a number of ways of searching for these, and you can open them up just by clicking on it and take it right there. So that makes life a little easier for you. So that's the main screen and what happens up here. The next thing we're going to go into is Customize. And, oops, we got a question. You may have to use caps. You know what, Joe? Thank you, because I always forget that some of these programs, the way things are in. So just for the heck of it, let's try that. Thank you very much for that input. And that's what happens when I have to work in a whole lot of different databases and management systems. I don't always really remember. There you go. All caps, buddy. Thank you very much. I just learned an important lesson. Hopefully you learn a whole lot more from me. I appreciate that. All right. So before I go into Customize, I clicked on there and I opened this up. I want to talk about what we have going on over here. These up top are very basically the different formats that you have your repair orders in, your invoices that you print out. And by clicking on each one of these, you can make this change. And I like to call these very basically the foundation of what's going on. And as you can see, you can scroll through these and see how it changes your basic document and how it lays it out. This pre-printed ones that you see here and here, what they do is they leave a space open up top. So if you already have paperwork that's pre-printed with your logo and everything like that, that's what those are for. But, you know, you can go through there and you got the landscape or whatnot. So that's a cake. Also, you see if I right-click, I have my mouse. And with a small selection here, it's not such a big thing. But, for example, most of our shops use Modern as their format. Well, I want to get it really, really easy to get to. If I right-click on my mouse and I get that little Add Favorites window up, I can slide over here and left-click and create this, so I have even faster access to it right then and there. So again, to do that, for example, if you want tech worksheets to be up there, let's say we want no history on it, right-click, click on Add to Favorites, and there it is. And if you want to get rid of it, right-click, Remove from Favorites, left-click, Remove from Favorites, that easy. So that's just one little thing that makes life a little easier if you want to just boost things right up to the top. All right. So now going back to this document here, this is my foundation for my repair order, my invoice that I'm sending to customers. Let's take a look at what we can do to it and make it a lot better. And here's the idea behind this, folks, is the fact that if you purchase 1,000 postcards and you're sending them out to your customers to remind them or tell them of special or service or anything that you got going on, did you know that if you get 5% of those back, that's considered wacky great? Wow, so you just sent out 1,000 and got 5 of them back or 50 of them back. That's considered really good. But here's a thought for you while we're about to go through this next process. Doesn't every one of your customers leave with an invoice? Ladies and gentlemen, yes, they do. And not only that, they sign it and all that fine stuff. Well, why not use that as some of your advertising? Why not get your customers to get back to you by using that document that you're going to put in their hand, or we can send it to them through email and they can keep it. And here's the advantage to sending it to them email. If they drive for a living, what better way for them to keep files on all their services by having you send them a digital copy through email? And also what this does for them is that when tax season comes up, they're all right there and easy to go. And you know what? If they need a copy, you can very easily send them again. But if you do it up front while you're doing it and processing the car, that's great. So that's a big point to think about. Secondly, if you persuade them to send them by email, you're getting their email. So now you can advertise through email, which you can send easily 1,000 out for just a couple clicks of the keyboard and your mouse, and they're done. No cost. So think about that as we're going through this. All right? So what we've done is we've gone to Invoice here, and we've opened up the main invoice screen, and we're going to customize our invoice because we want our customers to see it. We want to brand it. And you see a receipt from what do you call it, Target or Walmart or any place like that, you know where that came from the distance. You see people walking back. So we want to start doing that with your documents. So we're going to put a logo on the top here. And this is how easy it is. If there's no logo in there, you want to put one on, just click here, hit our logo, and what we need to do is search. And it's going to take us right into our samples folder and our bot folder. And this is built right on your C drive. And what you want to do is go through here and see if you can find the logo that applies to thee. Oh, that was a little poetry. Wow, that's really bad. I did it again. So we're going to put NAPA in there for today. So I double click and I just built that in. You want your shop name, address, and everything on there. That's cool. Your licenses number. And anything up here that's selected is going to appear. If it's deselected, it's not going to appear. You want to display when it was dated, printed, posted, or promised. You want to display that. You want to show the wife or the boss or the husband or whatever, whoever brought it in. If you want to see paid, when this customer pays that bill and there's a zero balance, that stamp's going to show right up there. And if you want to save a little bit of paper, use abbreviated header after the first page, which means all your shop info and stuff that we just put up here is going to get shortened up. So it's going to save a little paper. And yes, you're probably going to use a little more paper. And I'm about to tell you, if you're printing these out, we can add color to them. So you're going to probably add color. But think about it. If you can start getting your customers that take them through email, the paper savings, the printing savings, the ink savings, et cetera, et cetera. So now we're in the body side of things. We made a couple of changes up there. And if that's all I wanted to do, I would hit save and close right now, and those changes would already apply. But we don't have to do that after each screen if we're making big changes. So let's add a little color to our sheet. You guys are nice and NAPA. So we're going to put a little yellow in there. And if we want to have a secondary color, let's go a little darkish there. Parts prices, numbers, labor hours, parts list price. This is all selected to show up on the document. But I understand how a lot of the shops now are having that issue with a customer going on to Amazon or someplace and searching, and especially after you've done the job and they've paid the price, and now they search and find out they can get that headlight capsule for half price or that you charged. Well, maybe you don't want to give them really easy access to that stuff, but just by deselecting these things, again, I'm taking these off the final printout. And that's what I can do. And if I don't want them to know that I had to send the vehicle out for any kind of sublet, I can take that off. So again, if it's deselected, it doesn't show up. If it's selected, it does show up. If you want to only show the first job line, so if I have a very long description and I only want the first line to show up, I can select that there, and that's going to cause it just to show the first line and go off with a couple of dots. Again, a paper saver if you wish to. Watermarks. My shop, my imaginary shop that I own is JB Automotive. A watermark's going to have my initials in the background, so as easy as putting JB in there and clicking there, I'm going to show a watermark. Again, I'm going to be building the brand of my invoice. If you have a shop website, you're paying for it, you got it up there, you designed it, let's get it on there. So hit this. Give it a color because this is the link, and a lot of times that link color is like this light blue or dark blue, whatever you want to call it. Let's put that on there and put your shop address right there. QR code. We're going to put this on here so that my customer, when they get this either as a paper or a digital form, and they have a cell phone that has a QR code reader and it's available for free, they can scan that and go right to our website and pay. These guys are great. Down here, shop disclaimer. If you're using our text messaging, putting that on there is a really great thing. If you're not using our text message, you can take it off again to save paper. You got your hazmat and your supplies label, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to hide parts and labor totals in the total box or at the bottom of the sheet, you can hide them or just leave them out. Some shops don't mind showing the tech or the tech and his license, and that's required in some states, but other shops may not want the technician to be displayed, so they can take them off. And again, if it's checked, it's going to show up. If it's not, it's gone. Of course, if there's any questions I go through here, let me know. Recommendations, definitely. You just spent a whole ton of time doing an inspection on the car, and you made some recommendations that they didn't take. Well, guess what? Let's get them on there. So by selecting these things, we're going to generate a code. We're even going to look for past due recommendations that the vehicle may have, and we can even change this as easy as doing this. And of course, getting a capital E out of there is a good thing. But now that section title could be recommendations. And let's make it stick out. I'm going to get really ridiculous here, and I'm going to make it bright red. Okay? It doesn't have to be bright red. You can make it any color you want. Maybe you want to make it soft as a suggestion. We're going for red so it stands out. Okay? Unsold revisions, any work that they haven't done, we can show up on there along with the prices, or if we don't want the prices there. And again, selecting whatever I wish as I go through here. If you have any kind of discounts going on there and you're using a discount, that can show up and you can write, you saved this much or whatever you want, as easy as that. Social media now is an accepted norm of advertising. Getting yourself on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn or YouTube if you have shop videos and stuff like that. Put your addresses right in these spaces for your accounts. Click over here, and it's going to add these to your final paper. Now, mind you, when it prints out on the paper invoice, it's just going to show these symbols. But here's the cool thing. If you send this digitally, which we're going to try to do, the customer's going to be able to click on that symbol and go right to your your Facebook page or to your video page that you're sharing with them. So if you're having sales and stuff like that or special videos, some shops do videos, you can do that just by setting that right out there. And if you have additional things, you can do that in there. You just put the URL, which is basically the address where this place lives, and put it in there. Again, that was all the changes I'm making. I hit save and close to commit all those changes. And if it's selected, it's going to show up. Credit cards. There's your 4 major cards. Not everybody likes American Express. There, it's gone. So the rest of these guys are going to show up. Do you accept other forms of payment? So let's say, for example, show customer card or whatever. Well, the same story that we did with the logo, we store our images in our samples folder. And this is going to take us there. And guess what? We do accept Cool Card Cash. So why not show that on the ticket? And if you have other types of credit cards and you grab their symbol and you load it right in the bot folder here, right on your hard drive, you can add those things. So like, for example, maybe you do checks. All right, there you go. Both are going to show up. If you don't do checks, you can very easily deselect that, and that would be it. It's gone. Another way to build your brand is put affiliates. For example, ASC, your technicians are certified, and you've got a sign out front. Why not put it on your invoice? If you're using Mitchell, which you guys aren't, so we're going to ignore that. You're using bolt-on technology. You want to show who they are. You want to get your NAPA symbol up there. Let's see if we can do that for you. Well, we should be able to do it because we found it already. So we go into NAPA world here. Boom, hit OK. And now the little NAPA single. That might not be the right size, but we're going to put it in there just to show you how easy it is. All right. And also, let me make sure I point out that all this stuff, if we go to the C drive on your computer, is in the bot folder. And get to here, go to Irs drive, go to bot. Now, see, here it's going to be listed as NAPA bot because I have 2 different systems here, and there's that sample file. All those things that I'm showing you are right in there, so you know where it is on your computer. All right, so that's all that is, showing the address. Last but not least, we can use coupons. But let's do this. Before we put the coupons on, let's take a look at everything else that we've done and see what it does. So we had the simple format image that we've been using. We're going to go to modern now because everybody likes modern more than anything else. And already take a look at what we've done. You can have your name, etc. There's your logo. You have some nice little color going on there that stands out. There's the big JB. Hello, it's from JB Automotive. Those guys are good, man. Take your car over there. Yeah, that's great. As we move down here, I got my bolt-on technology website set up. Here I have my, what do you call it? It's my companies around there. There's NAPA, and of course I should have ASA and stuff, ASE on there. I should go back and see why that didn't show up. And here I have my social media, and I'm going to tell you right now, I have a personal page on here, but it's going to try to open it up, and it's not going to let me go in. That's fine, but think about that. If you can make it that easy to a customer when you send them this digitally, that they can go right to your website and give you the A-OK. Or if you had specials or you had some kind of show or something where you have videos, you can have them send right there. So that's a piece of cake to make them happen, make them get there and see what's going on. So that's page 1. Let's move on to page 2. Now, of course, the RO isn't fully, or invoice isn't filled out, but we got a little bit of gappage going on there. But check this out. How can those customers miss those recommendations? There they are, ladies and gentlemen, in black and red, blood red. Anyway, so we can make sure that they can see what's going on. And look at this. If they have a smartphone and they have that scanner, and again, they're free, they can scan to set their appointment for these items. Look, all this work being set up for January 10th. I guess we missed that one. We should send them a new reminder. So whenever this stuff is due, we can send them a new date. It's 2018. I'm being silly. So we can actually set a date a year in advance just by scanning that. That's nuts. That's crazy. All your customer authorization line information there. Hey, if they saved anything, there it goes. And there's another QR code. This one's currently set up to take them to your web page, but maybe you want to send them somewhere else. You can easily hook up another web page or something like that right to it. And there's your methods of payment minus the ever unpopular American Express. So again, if you're printing this, a color printer is going to be required. But if you can persuade your customers to give them your information, your email stuff, you can send these directly to them and also have an email address for other reasons. So let's go back and add some coupons here. Back here, customize, invoice, coupon. So before everybody freaks out, here's the big thing about coupons. They don't have to be discounts. For example, if you're just starting to use the bolt-on technology and you're texting your customers, why not just put a note in there? You can do that. Why not put your everyday low price for your trans service or your brake fluid flush? Here's what the beautiful thing is. If you put these on here when it comes time to offer those things, aren't your customers already going to be pre-educated, knowing that they $179, wait a minute, that's too darn expensive. How darn inexpensive? It's now up to $195. And as easy as you just saw me do that to change, that's all I got to do. So once I put $189.95 in there and all this in here and I hit show coupons, these are going to be your 3 default coupons that shows up. You can build advanced coupons. So, for example, if this vehicle has a lube oil and filter on it today, or we have a recommendation for lube oil filter, it's going to look down here and go, whoa, let's give the person a coupon for a lube oil filter. So, for example, why not put the trans flush down here, and if they have a recommendation for it, let them know it's going to cost. And how easy or hard is it? It's actually easy to add one. Go right here, go to your categories, find where you're, let's say you're going to make a discount on the air filter. All right, so you just type that in. Geez, I have this capital E after an R thing all the time. And let's see what we want to do here. Put in a price. Let's make it, and of course this is really bad because, you know, air filters are all over the board. But we can just put it in there right like that. Make sure we put a dollars in there. And your shop name is going to fill up here, and if you want to change this little disclaimer down here, this one here is fixed, but the other ones are changeable. Hit OK, and there it is. So if we recommend an air filter, this is automatically going to pick up and throw it in one of these places. If neither of these items or whatever else you have listed down here shows up, it's just going to default to these guys. So hit Save and Close. I've got my selection up here to make sure that I got them. Let's go back into my monitor, and I'm double-clicking on that to open it. Go back to page 2, and there's my coupons. And there is an oil and filter change recommendation on here, right? There you are. So you can see how it pulled it through right away. So that's a great thing because not only are we putting the recommendations and the reminders right on here, we are now also giving them the ability to get a coupon or something for that. So that's a great thing. So are there any questions about the check changing of your repair order there? Again, the idea here is you're putting this in everybody's hands. And if you do this stuff here and start sending these out digitally and or printing them out and giving them to your customers, you're more likely to get a return on them. So you can build these things as discounts or as regular old prices. And the thing is let's just keep getting them back, and that's what we're trying to do here for you. All right, so customize again. Let's go back to here. The next thing you can do is your tech worksheet. So you have the ability of changing a lot of things in the tech worksheet. Again, if you're using a mobile manager, you don't have to worry about this, but Here's a version of the tech worksheet, and again, I'm double-clicking on it and opening up here, and you can add color, and you can see the text is in color and stuff like that. But I don't think many of us are really interested in making big changes like that in the tech worksheet, but just in case you are, you can go in here, and what you do is you check the color. This is going to be the actual text color, and as you saw, some of my text was in green. Let's go back to the lovely world of black. And matter of fact, let's just turn the whole document black and white. And as easy as you see me going here and selecting the color and moving over to the color, I can do that. Now, here's a hint for you. If you want something not to show up, change it to white. So like, for example, maybe you have notes on these about customers and you put in the vehicle memo. If it's white, it's not going to show up. And another thing is, if you want to make sure something stands out that everyone can see it, why not do this? Put your text color in black and go over here and make your background bright red. Again, a color printer is going to be required for this, but right now I'll show you what all this does, but it does change things very lightly, and it's going to take the vehicle memo. If you don't want recommendations to show up on there, want your technicians to discover them on their own, again, making it white makes it go away. Customer information. Do you need all the customer info after the first page? Absolutely not. Let's shave it down. Let's take some report headings there. Hide the customer numbers because we don't want the technicians calling and asking for dates. Display technicians for like who's working. Yeah, you might want to do that. What is the pay hours instead of scheduled hours? You can do that if you wish. The technician hours on the tech lines, maybe you don't want to do that. And display below the vehicle history lines. Like, for example, if you're printing history, you want to know what tech worked on it, you can select that. So again, if it's selected, it's going to appear. If it's not selected, it's not going to. Your pre-canned jobs show the work and all that stuff in there. If you want to show all that information, selecting that. If you want to have lines so the technician can easily, if you look in the background here, you see that this document has no lines here, so wherever they handwrite and whatnot, it's going to be over the world. You want to put lines and just do that. And I think this is important. The promised time and date shown for the customer, make sure you do that. Again, whenever you make any changes here, save and close. And then let's go back, and I'm going to double click here to redo this. Give it a moment to digest. And notice the green text is gone. Notice we got the lines for the technician to write. So that's as easy as to make changes. And again, you can scroll through the whole document one page at a time and see what's going on. And you can add history to it or take history off if you wish. Okay? So going back to history, customize. You can show history on your printouts. You can show history on your invoices, everywhere. This here is where we control how much history we're going to show. If you don't want any history to show anywhere, put a big fat 0 in there. And that'll keep history from showing anywhere. But if you want to show some history, and I think at least 3 years is good, click up to 3 years, and there you go. It's going to show 3 years of history. And that's good because I think that's a fair amount of time to go back for warranty issues and things of that sort. How do you want to look at that history? Well, when I select date, that puts them in history in chronological order. So it's going to go from the most recent back to the oldest. And that's my preferred method because it makes it easier for me to look back and forth to see what's going on. If you're using your categories correctly in NAPA, and you're assigning jobs that oil filter category and that air filter category and all that stuff, you can click here and display all the work by category. It's a little more complicated. It could be a little more confusing. And if you're not efficiently using the categories, that can be a problem. But you can show only labor items, the most recent, so it's only going to show the most recent thing that was done. And any service that's not been performed, if it's on there, it's going to show that too. I really feel, and it's up to you, here's what I suggest. Choose the one that you think and go there and show that worksheet and see what comes up. Now, I may not have any kind of history on here, but at least you can take a look, and whatever version works for you, when you're done with this, go to it. Okay? And that's the best way to experiment with some of this stuff is just to go in there and take a look at it and see what's going on. So like recommendations are all blanked out because I put it in white and things of that sort. So we're all good to go. All right. Customize tech worksheet, done. History can also be accessed from here. Save and close out of there. All right. Multi-point inspection. Who out there has mobile manager, meaning you're using the tablets and our digital inspections? If you could respond and let me know that through that little chat function there. Is there anybody that's still doing paper inspections? And the reason I'm asking this is so I can cover as much of the right material for you, so I'm going to ask you all to respond to that. Okay, I got some answers here. All right, I got one yes. Unfortunately, because I asked two questions. Are you using digital tablets, Joe Fensky, or are you still using paper? So D or P would work for me. And there's a couple other people out there. Give me an answer. If not, I'm just going to roll right through this. Mobile manager from Beard, and yeah, we got two digital people. All right, so let's spend some time on digital because it's good. All right, so here we are. Let's take a look. We're going to multi-point inspection. Click there. We're under Customize. This is your inspection building window. As you'll know already that we've already provided you with a number of inspections, but maybe that's not enough for you. I want to be sure that I take you right to this point here first. All right, you didn't start using the tablets yet? Great. This is really important because you got to build some inspections, so that's great. This will still apply. All right, so you got some inspections downloaded. This isn't Report Pro, remember. Go to the store. Don't be afraid. I want them to change this to the library, but I guess it don't fit. Because here's what we've done. Not only do you have some inspections here to play with and work with, you can go online and download inspections that are up there. And as you can see, the first 5 were built by Bolton, and they were the original ones that we had up there. Everything that you see underneath here has been submitted by one of the thousands of shops that now currently use our software. And as you can see, some shops have done multiple ones, okay? Well, here's the great thing about this. These people have done a lot of work that you don't have to. If you do used cars, for example, here's a used car inspection. When you click on there, it kind of opens it up for you and gives you an idea what's behind the inspection, what they've done. And look, this is a pretty nice list here, okay? So that's a good thing. But I'm going to take you into another one up the list. And again, on the right-hand side here, this is how many times each one of these has been downloaded. So you can see that Tunex one, it's got some popularity behind it. But let me show you the granddaddy of them all. And you can see some of them haven't been down like this. These guys aren't happy. What do you mean we do our work and no one downloaded it? Anyway, I'll stop. All right, so as we move up here, I am looking for one very specific one, and I'm looking for the Irs Automotive Inspection. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, 810 downloads. And look at this one up here, 137. But here's the thing. Take a look at this guy did for you. And as I go through this, it's going to make a little more sense of how much this makes life better for you. And when I click on this, it's going to open up here. Now, for example, his first inspection point is driving the vehicle. So brakes, the technician drives the vehicle. Well, look what he's done. He's given your technician automatically 4 problems that he can find. And remember, this is all going to be on a tab where you just tap and it fills it in. So you got 4 recommendations, 4 notes, then you got 4 recommendations and all this. All this part of the process has been done. And it may not make a whole lot of sense yet, but as I get through this demonstration, it'll make better sense. But look at this. This guy has done a lot of work. This is crazy. This is crazy good. This is a great place to start. Because here's the beauty of it. You download this at no cost. It's yours. It's on your system, and I'll show you how that happens. And if you don't like it, I'll show you how easy it is to take stuff out of it, put stuff in. But you can use this as a great basis for your own thing. See this download button? That's what you want. That's what you got selected. Click download, and it's going to be yours very shortly, pretty quickly. Bam, bam, there it goes. It's there. These things aren't really that big when we send them. Now, here's a little heads up. It's going to strip the customer's shop name off there. So it only became the courtesy inspection. So don't freak out if you don't see it. And if you accidentally download one that you don't want, hit delete, gone, just like that. So let's take a look at what this looks like right on here and get an idea of how to build an inspection from it. So I'm going to double click on this, and it opens up in my big inspection window. The first thing that we have up here is the name of the inspection. So you would name your inspection up there by typing in whatever you want to call it. So that we can call this one today the JB inspection. All right. I like JB. All right. So as we have the JB inspection, the next thing we're going to start adding is what we call groups. So you see these highlighted in green? These are groups. And there's a couple ways of looking at what a group is. A group can be a special inspection where you're going to do certain inspections underneath that group, and all these things under here are called points. So let's, for example, let's call this group charging system. Well, what parts of this system are you going to inspect? Okay, alternator, battery, boom, boom, boom. So if you get that understanding there, this is your charging system, this is the inspections you're doing, and these are the individual parts, battery, cables, etc. Anything that you find, you add in there. So think about the group, or it could be a kind of inspection. So here, this guy does a road test. He wants you to check all these points. He looks at the instrument panel and wants you to look at these. All right, so the first thing you do is add a group, and all that is involved with that is going up here and clicking here and putting in new group or whatever you want to call that, or groupies or whatever, and hit that, and you see as easy as it shows up right there, you've got a group in there. So name it something that makes sense for you in your shop. If you're not happy with that, select it, delete it, yeah, go away. All right, cool. So that's a group, and as you can see, all the points are under a group. So let's take a look at this. This is that brake system inspection that we just looked. When I double click on it, it's going to open up my points editor window, which you'll see is also here. So each individual inspection is an inspection point. So what we're going to do here is go through and modify it, but before we do anything, let's take a look at what they gave us. So that's your name and your category, but let's go over to Can Notes, because that was the first thing I showed you when we were looking at it online. When I click here, there's all my messages, all my notes that this shop has already done the work for me. Think about that. All that typing, I'm not the world's fastest typer. I know some people that this might take a few minutes to do, and I know other people get it done in a few seconds. But all that's already done. If you want to add your own stuff in, all you have to do is hit the Add button, stay with the theme, brakes, screaming. And you type it in and hit this. And there you go. You just put in a note for your technician to click on. So, probably not a good idea. Remove it just like that. It's out of there. All right. So there's your Can Notes. Well, after your technician decides what's going on, we got to recommend something. So let's go to recommendations. So here's the same story. Brake pedal goes to the floor. Recommend inspection wider brake pedal goes to the floor. Piece of cake, and add that. You're all good to go. Okay. And you're going to see that we're going to do that here. And I'm going to come back. There's something you may have noticed there that I didn't talk about, but let's go back. Next thing we want to do, after we have our what we find, what we're going to recommend, we want to put some canned jobs to this. So if you've been using your canned jobs, you go hit that Add button, search for the canned job you want. So let's see, we got clean and adjust brake lining. And you can click on a few of these. Holy moly. And then hit OK, and it just pulled those across. That's a beautiful thing, all right? So now, when you go back into CAN recommendations, one of the reasons I did that is because we want to assign something. So let's see, brake pedal goes to the floor. That's pretty dangerous. So that would be a default on red. So when that technician hits the red swatch on the thing, it's automatically going to fill that in, and it's automatically going to put the recommendation in there that we want to look at that. The brakes, now, if they're grinding or a little noisy, not a real big deal, but it's going to also look in there. And what's going to happen, the reason I did that after this is because when they do that, they're going to have to assign a job to it. And that's the beauty of that. So they can click on the red or yellow swatch, and they're going to have a jobs here, and going to select what job needs to be done in order to make that happen. And finally, what are you going to call that inspection point category? Where are you going to put it here? Well, we got it at the ever popular BRAC place. So make sure you have that for your category information. And how often should this be looked at? Well, I would recommend every 6 months or 6,000 miles. So that's what that is. Now, if this is something that doesn't need to be based on miles, but it's based on time, all you have to do is take out this and put a 0 in. So like in Pennsylvania, we have a state inspection. And what we want to do is once a year, bring that car back, and it's regardless of mileage. So I will put a 0 there, and if it's a once a year thing, I'll put a 12 in there. So that's what we're doing, is assigning it when it should be in and what we're going to do for it. Let's go back to where we started. Are there any questions about that? Okay, so basically you go through and make all this happen point by point, and when you're done here, you hit click and close it, and you made all those changes. That's there. Now you're going to have to do the same thing with each line after it. Assign a category, your notes are there, your X are there. You can assign these that are yellow and red as need be. Add some canned jobs to that line and just continue. And yes, there's still some work involved, but I want you to think about how much work this shop has already done. Now, let's take a look at this. This guy looks at the instrument panel and how everything's working. This, I think, is a little bit on the overkill side here. So maybe I can crunch it down, or maybe I just don't like it. So, for example, I don't want my techs ever to touch the radio. So let's get that out. There's a couple ways of doing with this. If I want to totally just get rid of this, I can double click on it and go here and hit delete, and that's just going to take it out of my system altogether. But here's one of the things I want to share with you, is that when you download these inspections with all these points, why not put the points over here for future reference in case there's something you want to do with them? So why delete it all together when maybe you can save it and use it in the future? So if you don't want it in the inspection, click, drag, and notice how this little black line forms. When it does, it drops it right there, and it's there for future reference. If I want it back, click, drag, and there it is. If I think the radio is the first thing that should be checked when this car comes in and we're looking at it, I can drag it to the top here and do that. So you can see, and this is an important point, is that we can put these specifically in an order that the technician can follow and be very efficient as they choreograph the inspection. If you decide, you know what, this is all crazy stuff here, I don't want any of it, or you don't like the group, go here, and now anything that's assigned to this is all going to go away just like that. Now, if you realize you did something way wacky wrong and you don't want to do that, any changes that you made here are not going to stay if you hit cancel. But if you hit save and close, everything that you did is gone. So like those points that I moved and everything like that, it's going to stay. It's going to go back to normal. If I hit cancel, if I hit save, they're gone. But if I hit cancel, it's going to say you want to cancel your changes yet. You go back in there and a courtesy inspection. I call it JB inspection now. The instrument panel gauges, et cetera, are all back. All right? So that's a very basic thing. If you want to build an inspection from the ground up, you can add one just starting here. You're going to name it. And again, spelling is always a nice thing. Add a group. Hit OK. You want to add points now after that. Because you want to add points, you can open the editor, or you can go back to the home screen. And if you find something over here already, just drag her over, and you can go scroll through this whole list. Also, if you hit the alphabet letter, the first letter, or whatever you're looking for, the U there, or a B as in Baker for battery, and you can pull these things over here and drag them. And again, if there's a specific order, just like that. Are there any questions? I mean, that's pretty much how to build the inspection and whatnot, what's going on with the inspection. Let's talk about the options here then. So you have all this stuff going on. Also notice the asterisk, and the reason for the asterisk is it's going to bump these to the top. So for example, I have those winter and summer inspections and AC inspections. They're like my specials. 1995 or an AC inspection, and what I'm doing is giving the technician point-by-point way of going about it. He can take pictures as he's checking everything, and we're going to build value into that inspection with that customer. The asterisk puts them at the top, so I can have my specials up top, and I can have everything else at the bottom. That just kind of forces them up there. But here we have to take a look at some options. Now, when you're working on a repair order, you might have access. Well, actually, let me step back. When you're working on a tablet and you're opening up a repair order and then you're adding an inspection to it, you might want to add, for example, you have the inspection, and maybe today we have a state inspection on a car too, an oil change. We can have the tablets ask you if you want to add those to the inspection. So what this does is if I build that AC inspection and the car comes in for that, and the customer also has an oil change along with that, it's going to put in an oil change inspection point on that inspection. I'm not a big fan of that because I'd rather keep my inspections by themselves. And also, I want the technician to get the vehicle in the shop, do the inspection and any diagnostics up front, and get that all back to me, and then carry on with the jobs that he has already got authorized, like the oil change and alignment or whatever it is. That way he keeps moving while I'm doing what I got to do. So I have it selected to ask me, and it's just going to ask you when you open that up on the tablet. It's going to do the same thing here if you have access to Short Track. It's going to ask if you want to put those on there. Okay, I don't believe they're compatible with NAPA, so we'll just move on. Sharing. You can share these inspections via text or email, or you can even show the customer right then and there. And, well, I've been asked to move these. I've been asking to move these things out to an hour and a half because there's a lot to cover. So here we can set this message up to send to the customer. So when you send these messages through text, it's automatically going to grab the customer's name that the inspection's on, their vehicle type, and it's going to put the inspection right in there. These things here are called Wildcards. They take information right out of your database and customize. You click the little question mark up there. Here they are. So the URL is going to put the inspection report there. Title of the inspection, if you have it named the AC inspection, it's going to go in there. Customer, it's going to pull the customer's first name and put it there. Vehicle, it's going to put that info there. And also, if we have a work order number, it's going to pull that in there. So you can put these in, and any of these things are going to pull information. And changing them is as easy as clicking, selecting, typing, or even do it in a word processor or something like that, make sure the spelling's right and whatnot, and pasting it in. And you can do the same thing for here, the ones that are going to email. So they're called Wildcards. You have a variety of different themes that you can use. If I right-click on this, I can take a closer look at it. If I left-click, that little arrow shows up. So that's going to be my new format. You can take a look at these. Again, right-clicking selects it. Left-clicking opens it up to take a better look at it. This here is still our favorite one. And no one seemed to indicate that you're doing paper inspections, but now you have the ability to take digital inspections and make paper inspections out of them. So with you all being in that world, or soon to be using the tablets, I'm not going to go over that because that's not really a big thing. Any inspection that you have, if you have multiple stores, you're going to export that inspection out and send it to a store, put it on a USB drive or whatever. And if you want your inspection not to be shared with the world, that's how you can move from one store to the other when you get it. You just open it up, click on there, and import it, and it's yours, just like that. Tools. This here is where you're going to look up your vehicles and that's, edit the inspection before you send it to the customers. So you take a look here by double-clicking. It's going to open up your report, and you have a number of different ways of looking at it. You can look at it through the whole document itself just by scanning through it. You can look at single points and scan through it one at a time. Some people prefer that. Or your groups can be tabbed. So you got your road test. This is that one I just showed you. Instrument panel. So you can look at each individual group and then go through each point in that group one at a time to determine what needs to be done. And you can change and inspect, do everything, make sure the pictures work out, make sure everything's good to go before you send it out to your customer. Once you're happy with it, you can do a number of different ways of dealing with this, getting it to the customer. That customer's waiting, you can go up here and open in the browser. And what this does is renders a version of this, and it opens up in the browser in your PC. What the idea behind this is, if the customer's waiting, you can walk out to the waiting room, or if you have your tablet, you can do this on your tablet, or you can pull them up to the service desk and have them take a look at the report's actually going to look like when you send it to a customer, and you can still send it to them. And you have the conversation with the customer right then and there and show them everything that's going on with the car without taking them in the shop. So it's interesting that this is taking too long. It might be because it's a humongously big report. Why did I choose this one? Okay, but basically it's going to render a report right here. Let's see if we can get out of this without breaking the world. Yeah, it's because of how big that report is. So basically, I'm going to have to live with that until, oh, I like that. So basically, it's going to render a report so you can take a look at it and share it with your customer, and everything that you see here, you can open up, showing what the technician's drawn on. And again, if you do the mobile manager training, we'll go over all those details there. Well, there's the cause of your wipers being chewed up. That's not good. The darn vulture's getting to them. But anyway, you can go through with the customer and show them exactly what's going on and why you're recommending those wipers and how they have to get rid of that vulture to stop eating up the wipers. If the customer's not there, you can send it via text. So what this is going to do is open up a text window here, and that message that we just had a couple minutes ago, and I apologize for that. I never tried to do it with one of the big inspections. And there it goes, it's out of here. So anyway, it's going to customize with the customer's information, vehicle type, there's the inspection, and you click and send it right here, hit send message. They get it. Here's the beautiful thing. When they open it up and they click on this link, it's going to send a message back to you letting you know that the customer has already looked at it. So that's one way of sending it. Thank you. I'm very happy you're gone. Also, you can email it, but we prefer, and I don't have my email set up here, but you prefer to text message because that's going to be more likely to be open. This can be ignored, and if you just want to keep it on your work order, you click here and it's going to put it in the notes file in the work order. These things do stay hooked up to each vehicle that we do, so you can always go back and look at them. Next tool. I hope you're doing this, and if you're not, I'm going to show you how easy it's going to be. With a repair order open in the background, an estimate, sell a set of tires, and you're going to see we have quite a list of tires here that you can go by. And when that's open here, the software is automatically going to fill in the customer's information. Your shop information is going to be right there. And all you have to do is put in the amount of tires, if they all have the same dot code, just like that. Be lucky how many times you can do that. Put the tire type or whatever in. Scroll to the bottom, hit submit, and you registered your tires. Bottom line is, folks, that's going to be a real problem sometimes, just like that Ford Firestone thing, and you don't want to be caught in the middle of that. Odometer fix. If you have a vehicle here where somewhere in the past somebody messed up and put the tenths in there, as easy it is for me to add the tenths to that file, well, it's that easy to get it out and fix it. So if I open this up, go here, remove that tenths, hit OK. And the nice thing is I don't have to go back and uninvoice all these invoices to make the changes. It's going to do it all in the computer system all the way through. And that's a really important thing, especially if there's some kind of warranty involved with some of the work. Settings, we already talked about how the quick reports come here. This here is set up by us, the factory. It just tells our software where to look for your reports. We can change our format from light to dark. We already talked about how this works and how to get your prints. Virtual printer means that we can print straight through Report Pro once we select virtual printer. So you don't have to exit your NAPA program. You can actually print right from here, and it's going to go through the virtual printer and do that. As I showed you earlier, my email is not set up on here. Yours probably is if we installed the software for you, but that's how where you set that up. And if you make any changes, hitting save and close is the big thing there. You folks that have mobile technology, once in a while the tablets are going to lose connection because of a software update for Windows or something like that. All you have to do is go to your settings on the tablet in the left-hand menu, bottom side, scan this in, and it's going to reset up your IP and your port address, and that's something we'll cover in Mobile Manager. We already went through the inspection options and themes already, so we're all good there. And your paper inspections, we're going to let go. And finally, the how-to guide. You may have noticed as I've gone through all the software, anywhere that we had a window, and I chose the wrong one here, but if you saw those little green, what do you call it? Where was it that I was going here? No. Sharing options, there you are. These here, generally these question marks will take you right to this screen. If it doesn't open the screen like it just did on the window, which it does in most cases, but when you're in help and you need to know how to look at something, Click here and it's going to take you straight through to Report Pro, and these are things that you can look up and work on your own. So you have lots of settings right there. What's new? If you don't have the 01, 04, 217 release 69, you do not have the latest and greatest. So every time you download it, you see an update available, do yourself a favor and do that update. That way you'll be up to the latest and greatest level, and also we're always putting out new stuff, so why not take advantage of it? And when it does update, you're going to see a message like this, and it's a way of checking where your software is. If your software isn't working, tell us why. Hit OK and send it to us, and we're going to open an application, and we're going to download an app, and we're going to get into your computer and fix it right then and there for you. That's how we installed your software, so you're pretty much familiar with that. Website, this takes you directly to our website, and again, you can look up basic information on the website, or if you need support, you go here, and you have all these resources in front of you. Highly do not recommend calling or emailing us. Your best bet's to let us sign into your PC or look things up here and see what you can do to help yourself. Videos, this takes you to our YouTube page and any videos that we have available right now for you to take a look at. They can help you out, training, etc. And I'm going to tell you all this is about to change. We're about to have short videos as short as 30 seconds and as long as 5 minutes, and that's it. And what the idea behind the video is, if you need to know something in specific, for example, how to build an inspection point, you go to Report Pro, Inspections, Points Editor, and click on that video, and you're going to just see just how to build the point. So it's going to take you through a lot of good information very, very quickly. If you want to add a report, so for example, you can see we have one report here, customers who stopped texting you, and you want to build a report and add it in here, you can click on here, tell us what you want to do, and send it to us. And if you need it really bad, we'll give you an idea how much it's going to cost to build it. Or if you can get a whole lot of people together to request the same report, we get an overwhelming majority, we can build it where we can put it down here in this file here for you. So that's a report and how you can get one built for yourself. So that is Report Pro. Lots of information covered. And if you have any questions, feel free to give a holler, and we'll be more than glad to help you out. Go out there and have a good time and make some money. All right? Bye-bye.